What up, nerds? This is Clay Cooper from Prep Expert. I've got a perfect score on the SAT and a perfect score on the ACT. And today I'm going to teach you about the difference between possessive pronouns and contractions. So questions that test your knowledge of possessive pronouns, contractions, and homophones show up all over both the SAT and the ACT. You've probably already seen a number of these questions if you've been practicing at all for either test. So we got to be rock solid on them. I say that a lot, but especially on possessive pronouns, contractions, and homophones. Look, if you miss these on test day, it will be because you failed to try hard enough to prepare. I guarantee you these will be on your test. They're not hard to learn. I'm about to teach you how they work. So you should make sure that you get them right on test day. Let's take a look at how they work. So the simplest way to explain the difference between possessive pronouns and contractions is as follows. Possessive pronouns never, ever, ever get apostrophes. So let's make this text a little bit bigger so we really get the point. Possessive pronouns never, ever, 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 ever get apostrophes. It's that simple. A possessive pronoun never, ever, ever gets any apostrophe. So it might be tempting to try and make a pronoun possessive by adding an apostrophe S, because for a normal regular noun, that's how we make it possessive. For instance, cat. If I'm trying to say the cat, something belongs to the cat, I'll say cat apostrophe S, right? However, with the possessive pronoun, that's not how we do it. If I'm trying to say something belongs to me, it becomes mine. If I'm trying to say something belongs to them, it becomes theirs. If I'm trying to say something belongs to us, it is our or ours, right? So no possessive pronoun ever gets an apostrophe. No possessive pronoun ever gets an apostrophe. So if you catch a pronoun wearing an apostrophe, you can be certain that it is a contraction. Why? Because contractions always get apostrophes. You cannot form a contraction correctly without using an apostrophe. Let's think for a moment about why that is. What is a contraction? A contraction, like it is becoming it's, or will not becoming won't, is when you combine two words into one. Whenever you combine two words into one, you omit letters to do so when you're forming a contraction. You're not allowed to omit letters, though, just whenever you want, right? In order to form a contraction properly, you have to indicate with an apostrophe where you have omitted letters. So in other words, a simpler way to remember that is just contractions always get apostrophes. Always, always, always. Contractions always get apostrophes. Possessive pronouns never, ever, ever get an apostrophe. If I catch a pronoun wearing an apostrophe, I know it must be a contraction. So this brings us to the very simple way that we can check between the contraction form of a pronoun and the possessive form of a pronoun to see which one we need. Since possessive pronouns never get apostrophes and contractions always get apostrophes, it should be really easy to tell which one we need. All we have to do is see if this pronoun is a contraction. How can we test quickly to see if it's a contraction? Plug in the two words the pronoun or the word would be short for if it were a contraction. If the sentence makes sense that way, then it needs to be a contraction. And so it needs an apostrophe. It's that simple. You plug in the two words that it would be short for if it were a contraction. Read the sentence with those two words plugged in. If the sentence makes sense that way, then it probably needs to be a contraction and it needs an apostrophe. If the sentence does not make sense that way, then it is not a contraction, and thus it does not need an apostrophe. It's really that simple. All you do is plug in the two words that it would be short for if it were a contraction. If it makes sense that way, it's a contraction, it gets an apostrophe. If it doesn't make sense that way, it's not a contraction, it does not get an apostrophe. And again, this test can be used whenever you see a pronoun that either has an apostrophe and you're not sure if it needs it, or it looks like it might need an apostrophe. Essentially, whenever a pronoun is underlined, if you want to know whether it's possessive or a contraction, use this test. plug in the two words it'd be short for, see if it makes sense that way. It's that simple. So let's apply it on a practice problem. The urban department is responsible for making sure that the city's neighborhoods remain friendly and inviting. As a result of their recent renovation efforts, the downtown area frequently hosts conventions, fairs, and other special events. So this should be a really simple question to answer. I've got two answer choices that consist of pronouns wearing apostrophes, right? And because they are pronouns wearing apostrophes, I know I can use a simple test to determine if they're correct. I also have a couple other homophones. One is it and one is there. But let's start by determining whether this pronoun needs an apostrophe. So according to the rules we just learned, if ever I catch a pronoun wearing an apostrophe, I know it must be a contraction. So let's plug in the two words that there and its would be short for if they were contractions and see if the sentence makes sense that way. As a result of, what would there be short for if it were a contraction? It'd be short for they are. So, as a result of they are recent renovation efforts, does that make sense? No, I don't think that's what they're trying to say. So it can't be a. The sentence doesn't make sense with they are plugged in, therefore it's not a contraction, at least it's not this contraction, and it doesn't need an apostrophe. What about its, I-T-S? So let's plug in it is. When you see its with an apostrophe, that means it is. As a result of it is recent renovation efforts, does that make sense? Again, no. When we plug in the two words that this contraction would be short for, it doesn't make sense that way. All right, finally, as a result of their, T-H-E-R-E, T-H-E-R-E is actually a place, and we don't need a place here. We're not saying as a result of that place, recent renovation efforts. The sentence doesn't make sense that way. So we're left with D, its. Now, I know that its is a pronoun that could be possessive because it doesn't have an apostrophe. And in fact, it is a possessive pronoun. It means belonging to it. So as a result of the recent renovation efforts belonging to it, the downtown area frequently hosts conventions. Belonging to whom? I think they mean the urban department. So as a result of the recent renovation efforts belonging to the urban department, the downtown area frequently hosts conventions, fairs, and other special events. So it does make sense here. It's easy to see that its is our answer. That's all I've got for you today. Please don't forget to smash that like button if you found this video helpful. You can also subscribe to Prep Expert's YouTube channel for other videos just like this one. In fact, we'd love it if you'd leave us a comment below this video. Let us know what you want to hear about in our next video. What do you want advice on from a two-time perfect scorer? We might feature your comment as the topic for our next video. There's also a coupon code in the description below the video that will get you discounts on all of our products on our website, prepexpert.com. You can sign up for a course with myself or another instructor, or you can sign up for tutoring if you'd prefer that. So until next time, keep working hard.